What's good? What's good? What's good, guys? Cleveland in his Mariner blue and yellow. I see that. I like that. I'm here with the classic Dolphins right here, bro. Just so you know, Cleveland, and all the fans who won't be mistaken, is Dolphins for life, fellas. I just want you guys to know. Just want to
Oh,
open the show
man.
like that. Just want to open the show.
We'll get into that in a minute, man. But keep it pushing, my dude. Yeah,
Just want to open the show like that.
yeah.
Well, thank you guys for joining in. This is week 184, Cleveland, of the Voice of the Fans podcast, or this iteration of the Voice of the Fans podcast. But it's been a weird week, exciting week in the world of sports. We got NFL free agency still, people being signed out there. I'm not sure what the Seahawks are doing, but there's talent being signed across the town. And just want to know, Cleveland, real quick, who the Seahawks bring in? Name anybody of note?
At this point, no, Cam, not in free agency.
Okay. I mean, I'm just wondering what they're going to do in that quarterback spot. That seems like to be a wide open vacancy right there. Wouldn't you agree?
Okay, well, hey, man, you got Justin Herbert, under your arm, so stick with that. Okay, don't worry about what we're doing up here.
I'm, this is a sports show where fans want to know what's going on in the area.
Okay,
Since
well,
you
we're
look,
not sure right now, Cam. We're
uh,
not sure. It's an
all right,
uncertain time.
look, no reason to get testy now. No reason to get testy. Inform the fans of what's going on. I mean, come on, you can't be
Okay,
sensitive
well,
now
there's nothing to inform the
because
fans
you
because we don't know.
because you've had all these years of a
Hey,
quarterback
Cam,
a quarterback
why don't you
position
just
and
send Mr. Herbert some flowers, man, and keep it pushing, man. Don't worry about what we're doing up here.
man, I just want to know what's going on and how you guys are dealing with the fact that there's some uncertainty at that quarterback position for the first time in over a decade.
It's
I mean,
painful. Reality
you
is
guys kind
starting
of
to set in, man. I
you guys
mean,
kind of forgot how that felt,
nobody's
huh?
happy about all this.
Okay, all right. So that's hence the attitude from Mr. Cleveland. You guys see, Mr. Cleveland has been so happy and welcoming to talk quarterbacks in the NFL for the last decade. All of a sudden, as of about 3 weeks ago, he doesn't want to talk quarterbacks in the NFL no more.
Man,
Um,
I'll talk Justin Herbert all you like, as much as you want to.
I'm really interested in these young quarterbacks and then the whole vacancy. The quarterback carousel has been strange. Andy Dalton got a job. There's Baker Mayfield still out there. I mean, the well is going to be drying up here pretty soon. Don't you guys think you want to jump on one of these guys?
Hey, man, it's up to what Pete and John want to do, and we'll have to
There you
see.
go. There
We'll
it is.
find out with
There,
everybody else.
Pete and John, huh? Pete and
I got
John.
no answers. I got no answers.
Pete and John. All right, well, we're going to talk about like I say, NFL free agency, some of the things that's going on. We're going to talk about the NBA playoff races. NBA is heating up, man. We're just a little over 2 weeks ago. The NBA is heating up. We got some big things going on. We're going to talk about somebody's return to the NBA. It's a historic type return, in fact. We're going to get into all that, move on. But as we do each and every week, we want to thank you guys for tuning in, fans. We're going to give a shout out to our guys from HMB Media TV. You can check us out there. Thank you for tuning in. However you're tuning into us, but if you haven't checked out the guys at HMB Media TV, you might want to go out there and check them out. TBJ and Pavi, check those guys out, and we thank you again for subscribing to the Voice of the Fans podcast and tuning in to the Voice of the Fans podcast. You can be a part of the show. All you have to do is send us a tweet at What's Good in Sport. That's What's Good singular in Sport. Send us a tweet if you want to be a part of the show. Cleveland, what's your Twitter handle?
It's at Clevie Wonder on Twitter and Cleveland Still on Instagram.
And fans, Cleveland is usually not this aggravated and agitated and annoyed as he's coming off, as it appears to be so far in the show. He's usually not that way, but we're going to give him a break because it's been a long time since they had even considered what's going on behind center up there in the Northwest. And, you know, some people go through some stuff and they struggle on how to handle things. And I fear that's going on with my man right now. He's just kind of struggling to handle things. Uh, and along that note, Cleveland. I mean, we might as well get right into it. Did you catch the Oscars a couple nights ago? Did you
I
catch the
did.
Oscars? You watched the whole thing?
No,
Oh, just I
my
mean,
phone started blowing up about the
a
slap
quarter
moment. So
about
yeah,
a quarter way through, you got to check and see what's going on.
yeah.
Um, Will Smith approaches Chris Rock. What do you think Chris Rock is thinking in that moment? When Will he tells the joke, it doesn't go over well. He's like he knows it doesn't go over well. He's like, oh come on, that was a minor joke. That was a minor one. No, I didn't even dig deep for that one. That was a kind of a not even scratch the surface. That was just a rub the
Softball,
surface. That was-
softball. I mean, in comparison to really, the last 6 months of Will and Jay, what they really could have got into,
exactly.
softball.
So he tells the joke, and then he knows it doesn't go over well right away, immediately. And then he says, he tries to move forward, and he says, "Oh, and he sees Will walking towards him. Now, what is Chris walk? 5'6", 140 maybe, 140. I mean, it's COVID, so let's say 147, 148. Um, and Will, I mean, what is Will? 6 foot, 6'1", like a 210 maybe. And
I'm gonna go 6'2", 220. I'm gonna go somewhere
okay,
in there.
I don't know if it's 220. I mean, that's a bit much on it. But I mean, he's a grown man, basically. Okay, and he's approaching him. What do you think Chris is thinking at that moment when he's approaching?
That were both nine-figure African Americans in Hollywood, and hey, man, I might grab you, and hey, man, you need to stop doing that. All right, man, I was just joking. Okay, go back to his seat.
He wasn't thinking. He wasn't thinking the Fresh Prince of Bel Air. Mister Parents just don't understand. His, his, he wasn't equating that to 50 Cent or Ice T or who you want to see, or Snoop coming in. He wasn't, or MC8.
No,
He
yeah,
wasn't.
Suge. You know,
He didn't, he didn't,
yeah,
you have
okay, all
your
right,
picture of
okay.
somebody. He wasn't envisioning that.
No,
As he's coming, he's thinking this is the Fresh Prince of Bel Air. This is the brand new funk. this is
yeah, getting
this
jiggy
is
with it. Yeah,
this get jiggy. This is Mister what I Am Legend. come, and Will smacked the shit out of him on live TV, broadcasted around the world. And turn around, and the cool thing though, Will didn't forget. So there was a blend. There was a blend of Will's personality right there. We saw him. We saw his anger. There was a whole mix of emotions that Will went through this night. But in that 45-second segment, we saw the jovial, the laughter, because he laughed at the joke. It wasn't a great joke, but he laughed at the joke. We saw the response when a man sees his lady upset. And any number of things could happen at that moment. But and men who have a girl know when he sees his girl not happy, there's a certain emotion that comes through, and you're like either I have to deal with it or what's going on, or that's a whole nother tragic situation in its own. And so he's like, okay, I'm gonna fix it. So he confidently stormed up across the stage in front of the world, right? Swung on Chris Rock. And then the cool thing I thought was when he turned, he had to readjust his jacket. He couldn't go back to his seat with his jacket all tux all fucked up. He had to adjust his tux and shake it off and walk to his seat. How bad was that for Wilmer? Was it how bad was it? I think there's people who understand where he was coming from. There's some people who think he without there's no justification whatsoever for getting up and slapping the man. Which I'm 90% along that mind frame. But then if you push a man too far, you never know what could happen. Um, so and then there's the people, the comedians, thinking defense of the comedians, like, or they have to worry about this even when they go to the comedy clubs and comedy bars around the country. Do they have to worry about somebody coming to stage? You already saw Cedric the Entertainer says, "I swing back." So if you guys don't like the jokes and you decide you want to approach the stage, there might be a different confrontation than what we saw at the Oscars going on. Because I swing back, and when I say that, man, I think I make a joke. Go ahead and say what you got to say, because I want to come back and speak about that point, because Chris Rock deserves a lot of credit. We got to give Chris Rock some credit for the way he handled the situation.
Well, for me, Cam, there's two things that kind of jump out about the whole incident, and one is that I realize just the sensitivity of individuals and how my mindset is such that I can't relate to individuals like that in that way, because I feel that after you get to a certain monetary level of wealth and expression, that
you want to say that, but
listen. So I'm not done here. 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 That you just handle situations differently. You just don't handle it in the same manner that you jump out at the Academy Awards and you're the fifth highest grossing actor in the history of motion pictures.
Come on. Somebody say
I'm not done here.
I understand, but just to address that point,
jump up
just
and do
to
that
address that point, some might say that situation emboldened him because he has reached that certain amount of monetary fame because of the situation.
Then there's a part two. So then there's a part two of my thing here, right? And that's if Jerry Seinfeld was telling that joke, he would not have the inclination to jump up and slap the shit out of Jerry Seinfeld.
Jerry Seinfeld's not telling the joke.
But if he was, he would not have reacted the same way.
That's a false equivalency because he's not telling the joke.
Cam, did you hear what I just said? Did you hear what I just said? If Jerry Seinfeld is telling that joke, whether it bombed or didn't bomb, Will Smith is not jumping out of his seat and slapping the shit out of Jerry Seinfeld.
100% agree with you. 100% agree.
So it's a different dynamic in and all of itself, right?
But Jerry Seinfeld's not telling that joke because there's a different dynamic altogether.
I'll see you. We'll see you in G.I. Jane too. Was that a race? Was that racially motivated with the joke?
No. It's
so why isn't Jerry Seinfeld telling that joke?
Because you're bringing into it. Jerry Seinfeld's not telling the joke of the black woman looking like G.I. Jane. G.I. Jane. He's not telling that joke of the black woman resembling G.I. Jane. Yeah. He's not telling that joke.
I completely totally disagree with you.
What do you name a joke? Name a joke that he's told that borderlines that right there. He's not telling that joke. Jerry Seinfeld. If you want to say,
all right, man. Okay. But you're really understanding my point, but not understanding my point.
No,
because now you're trying to defend Jerry Seinfeld and his his comedic reign.
No, I'm telling you, no. There's no. And with Andrew Owens,
and then I get even more upset because we're giving so much time and credence to this like it's a thing, and it's like it's not a thing, man. It's Hollywood doing Hollywood shit, man.
What's not a thing? What are you talking about? What's not a thing?
No, it's trickled into all these other things. It's just
what are you talking
two
about?
9-figure cats, man, get into an argument about how they told a joke in national television. Yeah. I'm ready to move on.
You ready to move on?
I'm ready to move on, man. Yeah. We don't
I
I don't know
mean,
Will or Chris like that. So hey man. Yeah, it's not that heavy.
so I think Gary Owens is the only one white dude that would tell that joke. Gary Owens, the only white dude that would tell that joke. A joke similar to that.
Okay.
But do you think so? Do you agree with Kareem when Kareem says it was a stain tarnish on Black America?
I was 100% in the Kareem camp.
For you read the post? You read the whole post?
I read the whole post. Yeah.
Do you think now? I disagree with Kareem in the sense that he says it didn't look good for black women that he stepped up to defend his wife. Did you agree with that? I didn't necessarily agree with that.
I thought it was a little heavy-handed with regards to. I understood the damsel in distress part of it, especially considering who Jada is, and like, are you telling me that like, wow, you're just so vulnerable that you can't ever like take a joke ever? I mean, that was kind of the way I took it. But with regards to like, okay, there's never a situation like that. Well, of course, but I think that this, I mean, situation is different, man. I don't think this is like this on the street type of thing, man. This is like at the Academy Awards. You know what I'm saying? And
But
he went and slapped her like he just said, like, oh, you bald headed buck tooth bitch. Like, he didn't say that, right? It was like, we'll see you in GI Joe.
right,
Like, whoa,
right,
okay, haha,
right,
not that funny.
right. And
Remember when Chris Rock was telling jokes about Tiny at the BET Awards, and see, I was like, okay,
right,
all
right,
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 funny
right,
guy.
right,
And
right,
he's supposed to be like the one that like would have flipped out earlier, right?
right. But I mean,
See,
this
I
is
was like,
this,
okay, not that
this
funny, but okay, we'll talk about it later, like when the
right.
cameras aren't on.
This is unheard of. And the crazy thing is, like,
Yeah, I
what's
mean,
wrong?
how you turn the Oscars into the Source Awards, man? Like,
Like
no,
it's the
it's not
crazy
the
thing.
same dynamic. It's not the same thing at all.
But so to your point earlier, although I 100% agree, or 100% on the mind frame that there's no white man that would tell that joke. There's none. There is none. But I'm glad it wasn't a black on white situation. um, because that would have took the whole situation to a different level. And on that same note, I applaud Chris Rock for not retaliating. Um, how many people?
Physically or lyrically, right? Because it could have went either way, right?
Well, I think because he didn't respond physically, he couldn't respond verbally, and he decided to move on. And then rather, but had he took that moment, and kudos to him for again keeping his composure, because he could have turned that into a really
Ugly
it
situation.
would have been a black table situation. It wouldn't have been a red table situation. It would have been a black table situation where
Yeah.
he could have pulled down the curtain and been like, "Yo, you attacked me, but you didn't attack this dude," and you want to get angry and upset with me, but you don't want to respond with everybody else. What's the real hold up here?
The greatest stand up comedian of the last 25 years. Yeah.
And so I
Yeah.
think I applaud him for not responding physically because that could have got real ugly. That would have been a black stain. That then I agree. That would have been a black stain on black black men in America. How you can't take them nowhere. They don't know how to act in public. That
Even at
would
nine figures, even at
that
nine
would
figures,
that's
not
that
enough
would have been that
motivation.
would have been a bad look
Yeah.
on us. That part I agree with, but I applaud Chris Rock for not retaliating physically. And then verbally, like I'm surprised he didn't, but then I kind of understand why he didn't because he had a show to kind of continue on. Like he was on a time frame, so but there was he could have took it a whole different direction. And I applaud Chris Rock for kind of maintaining his composure to do that. But well, man, what an event! We don't talk Oscars on this show. I know it's a sports fan. I know this is a sports show fan, so I apologize, but it was just so monumental that we had to kind of touch on that. Thank you, Cleveland, for participating.
No problem.
Each and every week, fans, as you know, Voice of the Fans show, week 184. Thank you guys for participating. We start off with our numbers. It is March 30th, 2022, Cleveland. It's March 30th. First quarter's already gone, big guy. So when you think of the number 30, Cleveland, who wore this number best? Or who comes to your mind first when you think of this number 30?
Cam, the dude that comes to mind first is a cat that played in Madison Square Garden, a cat by the name of Bernard King. I remember a series where, man, he had both fingers taped up on both hands, was still hitting cats for 40. First person comes to mind. First, the player that wears the best, Steph Curry.
Is who?
Steph Curry.
Steph Curry.
Yeah.
I thought you was gonna go with Hall of Famer Terrell Davis. The guy who
I
wore
was
the
not.
best.
I was not. No, Steph Curry.
No. Well, when I think of the number 34, that's what I think of. The Hall of Famer running back, Terrell Davis, who told me to tell you to check the tape. Have you checked the tape yet? Have you checked the tape yet? He said directly check the tape.
Cam, I did look at his 7-year career. I did. I studied it very vigorously. Yeah. That middle part was amazing. Extraordinary.
Somebody else who actually come to my mind first when I think of the number 30 was Little Dave Meggett. Little Dave Meggett probably was the first. Can you think of and I'll challenge you right now, Cleveland, real quick. Can you think of the scat back, if you will, before Dave Meggett?
Not the way they used him. No, they used him in an entirely different way for his size, without question. And really, the only person that kind of comes to mind that kind of fits that mold is Darren Sproles. Really, I mean, as far as effectiveness.
So you know what? I have to take this back. I have to retract myself, and then we have to give a shout out and RIP to Lionel Little Train James. Actually, he played before Dave Meggett, and he wasn't an every down back himself. Um, and they used him. I think Parcells used him kind of like Eric Carriel used Little Train James, who was a tough son of a gun himself, right? But nonetheless, Dave Meggett was a favorite of mine. A favorite of mine. The number 84, this being week 184, the voice of the fans. Number 84, Cleveland. When you think of number 84, who wore that number best? Or who comes to your mind first?
Cam, just because the way you always be browbeating me every week about, my numbers and, my 206 legions of loyalty, I'm going to have to say first person come to mind is Sam McCollum. Number 84 for the Seattle Seahawks, back in the day. Something, probably most of you guys don't really, know or feel or understand. But, yeah, Sam McCollum. Yeah.
He comes to your mind first. Okay, who wore the best?
A touchdown guy, touchdown machine back in the day.
Oh, okay. All right. All right.
Who wore best? Moss. Randy Moss, man, for the Vikings, man.
Was Randy Moss better than Sterling Sharp?
Yes.
But did you see Sterling Sharp, though?
I did. Did you see Randy Moss? Randy Moss is on the highest scoring offense in the history of the NFL and the second highest scoring offense in the history of the NFL. That's not coincidental, my dude.
Where's Randy Moss stand? Where's Randy Moss rank among wide receivers in the game?
All time?
Yeah.
Top 5.
Who you got ahead of Randy Moss?
Now you're asking me to dissect the annals of times of the NFL on the spot. No,
because the way you put it right there, you had him sound like
he was at 5 because I didn't want to go through this exercise.
Oh,
no less than 5, man. If we really dissect it, who knows? No less than 5.
Okay. I think Sterling Sharp was the best number 84 receiver I've seen. It was the neck injury he suffered wouldn't let him continue to play.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. So you're saying that he had a better career than Randy Moss?
Did you hear what I just said? The neck injury that wouldn't allow
Yeah, I
him to
did.
continue to
Did you
play.
hear what I said? Did he
You
have a
didn't hear
better
say that.
career? I didn't
Well,
ask you about
Cleveland,
all the things
he
that
didn't
maybe,
play. He
you
didn't
know,
play the
detracted
years
from
that
having a
led.
better career. I just
He
asked
didn't
you who had
play.
the better career.
He didn't play as long as Randy Moss. So no, he didn't have this. He didn't have the career that Randy Moss had. So no, he didn't. To answer your question, is that what you wanted to hear? That's what
Yeah,
you
he
wanted to
didn't have
hear.
a better career. Yeah,
You're right,
that's what I wanted to
right.
hear.
All right, but in his 6 years in the league, he made the Pro Bowl 5 years. Okay, excuse me. In his 7 years that he played, he made the Pro Bowl 5 of those 7 years. Okay, he was All Pro twice, Cleveland. Okay, I'm not sure if you're familiar with that, but he was over 100. He was on over 100 yards receiving. What, 2 consecutive years, Cleveland? Only one of those 7 years, two of those 7 years, did he not catch over 1,100 yards receiving? I mean, so I'm not sure people have. You're good for this. You're good for not understanding the depth of somebody's career because they don't play 17 seasons. Because they don't play 19 seasons like your boy LeBron, and then they have the obvious peak and then the obvious downfall that they don't get any credit for their season. You're good for that. You are good for that. And I can point out multiple occasions where your thinking and your logic is flawed. So what I'm here to do is help you understand and help you identify that the players that are out there that actually make a difference in the NFL history. And so you don't think any of that what I just routed off makes a difference in NFL history?
No, he does not wear it the best. That's what the question was.
I just had the four of those 8 years, Cleveland. Sterling Sharp was in double-digit receiving touchdowns. Just want to throw that out there. I'm not sure you paid attention.
Were any of them 20 touchdowns, Cam? Either one of those seasons?
He had 18
So
touchdowns too.
no, so no, he didn't have 20 touchdowns. And Randy's done that twice on two different teams. The highest scoring and the second highest scoring offense in the history of the NFL.
I mean, but that doesn't make it the best. So you can throw that out there all you want. That don't. Well, I mean, what does that do?
I'm so sorry. What else do you have to do?
All right, Cleveland. Let's move on here. Good debate, good discussion there. Let me ask you before we move away from here. Number 84 for the Seahawks was Joey Galloway and Bobby Ingram wore their same jersey number. Who was a better receiver for the Seattle Seahawks?
Joey Galloway.
Was Joey Galloway faster, or was he the better wide receiver?
He was a better threat. We didn't use him properly.
Well, because you had
We
you
didn't have a
you
quarterback to use him
you did
properly. Yeah.
yeah.
John Kitna and those guys. Oh, look at him. I was like, he kind of fitted me into it a little bit. I see what you did there, Cam. Kind of fitted me into the whole missing the quarterback thing. Oh, the receiver. Oh, I see what you did there.
So talk to me. Who was the quarterback? Does it seem familiar? Who'd you have? Rick Meyer back then? Kelly Stoffer?
Garbage. Dan McGuire, garbage.
Woo!
Yeah, a lot of garbage.
Woo! Let's just take a look at this. Just for the hell of this, fans. Let's take a look and see who was throwing to Galloway. Do you remember who was throwing to Galloway? I think he had Rick Meyer for one season. I think
it's a long time ago, my dude. Yeah,
maybe one or two.
I don't remember all the quarterbacks that were thrown to him. There were quite a few.
I'm saying. I think he had Rick Meyer for that's what I'm saying. He had Rick Meyer for. There's one season. Let's see who was next season. Because this 90s Seahawks team, boy, this Rick Meyer. What happened to Rick, man? He just couldn't get it done. You guys had John Freeze. I thought John Freeze.
Actually, what happened to Rick Meyer is that we traded him with the Chicago Bears for their number 3 pick, which ended up being Walter Jones. So he served his purpose well.
And so you let Warren Moon come back. let him play for a year or two. How many years did Warren Moon play? So you traded the number 3 quarterback over for a tackle, and you were happy with that, huh? Because you brought in Warren Moon and had Kitten
Yes,
at the
I'm
point.
sorry, you probably missed that part. I said Walter Jones is who they traded him for.
Yeah, I heard you. I heard you,
Oh,
but then you had Kittner.
just some
You had,
guy.
but you was riding with Kittner, so you take Walter Jones over Kittner. Is what you're telling me. Walter Jones, you rather line up Walter Jones and, and
Yes, I would
John
rather
Kittner.
line up Walter Jones than any of the aforementioned quarterbacks. Yeah.
John Kittner, Rick Meyer, Warren Moon. Then got Matt Hasselback. Boy, you guys had some trash. You guys had some trash. Um, Matt Hasselback, though, he played quarterback for a few years, though, huh? Then you picked up Sean Alexander. So Matt Hasselback, stay with you guys for a minute. You guys had some trash, though. You guys had some trash. And I wonder what you guys are going to try to do right now. I want to know what you guys trying to do right now. What's good, San Diego? What's cracking? We're gonna talk some Chargers football here in a minute. We're gonna get some NFL, but I just had to get on my guy about what's going down with the Seattle Seahawks up there. But what's good, Kay from San Diego? Big news in the NFL. Bruce Arians stepped down. Todd Bowles is a new head coach of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, this has some Tom Brady stench all over it. What do you think about this?
Man, I can't really speculate about the Brady stench, but wow, that's powerful. I was thinking that Arians was getting a little long in the tooth,
Well,
health wise, and all
Aaron wasn't
that,
afraid.
but
You know,
certainly not stepping down at this point. No, that was a shocker.
Aaron's wasn't not afraid to take a shot at your boy Tom Brady. So he's been taking shots all off season and everything. So Brady says he's coming back. I think that was more of a surprise to everybody, and kind of caught Arians by surprise. And maybe Tom Brady went in the locker room and said, "Yo, this is one of the conditions. Um, either I stay, trade me, or fire
I
him."
mean, if that's kind of your hypothesis, then why did it take so long to make the change?
What do you mean? He just
I
announced.
mean, we haven't even gotten to the draft yet. I mean, it's been
He
like three
just
weeks since Tom said he was coming back.
no, that was last week, wasn't it? Do I have that mistaken?
No, man, it's been like 3 weeks since Tom said he was coming back.
Maybe
Why
they
did it take
just
so long?
they just linked up and they just finally had some discussions. I don't know. I'm just saying that. So you don't think that Tom Brady had nothing to do with this?
I don't
Move?
know. I don't know enough about the story and kind of why he came back or left to begin with to kind of
Oh
speculate on
no,
that. But
it seemed kind of
I mean, the timing looks a little suspicious,
it seemed kind
maybe
of fishy. It seemed
if
kind of
there's something there.
lobstery.
But yeah, I hadn't heard there was anything there with regards to the
Tom being up in the
relationship.
northeast, it seemed kind of lobstery. It kind of seemed kind of more than fishy. Kind of lobstery that this would be going on.
Okay, maybe so. I hadn't heard that.
So Jeff told me, you familiar with Jeff told me. You're a big baseball fan. Long time.
Jim
Jim
Tomey.
told me. Excuse me.
Yes, Jim
Me.
Tomey.
Jim told me. Thank you for correcting me. Uh, uh, Big basher at the plate, known for bashing a lot of home runs. His wife says, "We're tossing in our tickets for the Cleveland Browns. Season tickets, we're done. 30 years of season tickets, no more." What's your thoughts on Tomei's wife canceling the season ticket because of the Deshaun Watson signing, and how many more of this the Browns experience and that we're not hearing about? What's your thoughts on that?
Certainly is entitled to her opinion, and I'm not going to say she's wrong. Certainly, the Cleveland Browns were taking on a lot of baggage with regards to um, kind of talent over, circumstance when they made the trade, all in guaranteed. And from what I'm from what I've read, she had the opportunity to talk to some of these people, personally, and she just was not a fan of how their side of the story transpired, adverse his side of the story, and hey, they felt that their principles were such that they didn't want to be a part of the Browns, whatever, going forward. And I, can respect that.
Yeah, it seems kind of I said it seems like you're doing this more for notoriety. Otherwise, nobody would have known about
Well,
it.
when you make it public, you're doing it for the
Yeah, that's
notoriety.
what I'm saying.
But then
That's what
you're
I'm
also
saying.
probably trying to bring light into why you're not doing it, right? So
Well,
there's a little bit of both.
but your reason is your reason. So now not only are you trying to say okay, that I choose not to um, patronize the Cleveland Browns. Nobody else should patronize the Browns too. Now this is where you're taking it to where now nobody else can
I,
make their own decision because
I didn't hear
you
that
make
part
your
of it
decision.
that it was kind of like an
Well, why else
anthem
would
to
you make
like
it?
no one should do it or just that
Why
general.
else would you make it perfect? Make it public? Why would
Because you're public enough to bring attention to why you're not doing it, and other people, just some accountant in Cleveland is saying, I'm not going to do it and post it on their Facebook. I mean, that's not really bringing attention to the reasons behind why they're not doing it. Jim Tomei's wife, some of the top 10 all time in the history of baseball and home runs. Yeah, that's going to bring a little bit more attention to it. And in the city that he is, beloved.
yeah,
So, yeah.
he made famous, right? Kind of weird. It's kind of weird. Um, Goodell, though, even more strange. Goodell said there's no timeline for Watson's discipline. Like Roger Goodell, what are you doing? Like, what? Isn't this about time? Like you've had a year to kind of decide on this.
They're not sure they're still working it out, Cam.
Still working what out?
After the grand jury came back with the we don't
With
have any
nothing.
charges, well,
Oh,
then
they
they
have
need
to
to go
go
back
create.
to their
They have to
research
go.
and get,
They have to create a different
get
envelope.
solid.
They
Get
have to.
solid with what's going on and,
They have to create a different because they had a
double check
package.
on some of their sources. I mean, it's a long process, Cam.
Oh, they had a package already ready. Had the grand jury already.
It might be 2023 before we really get a real definitive decision on what's going to happen.
So he's going to set out another season.
No, I mean it will be like full steam ahead until they come up with something that's like, okay, well, we're drawing it back.
So let me ask you this: would Jerry Jones or Robert Kraft be having to wait on a decision being made by for their quarterback?
For the public, yes.
I guess Robert Kraft did have to wait for a penalty to be handed down for a deflate.
Oh yeah, you forget Robert Kraft did have his quarterback taken for 4 games. He wasn't happy about it.
Yeah. Okay. So after my Dolphins, go ahead and trade for
and fans, they're not his Dolphins. He keeps trying to jump back on the bandwagon with the slippery hands. He didn't understand nobody's hearing him, but please continue with what you're saying.
Dolphins for life. Dolphins. After my Dolphins picked up Tyreek Hill the last weekend, I want to talk to you about another day about how they plan on using him. Like, what's the best way to use Tyreek Hill? Tyreek Hill said he wants to run punt returns back. Do you let Tyreek Hill run punt returns back? Like, I'm not so certain about that. Like, I'm not so certain. Waddle got one more season to run punt returns back. I'm not so certain about that. But to replace one of the guys they brought in to replace the most explosive player over the last 5 years in the NFL that is now in the 305 on South Beach wearing the Aqua and Teal, is Marquez Valdez-Scantling. They got Scantling and Juju Smith to make up for Tyreek Hill's production. Can one of the two of them, do that job filling in adequately for Mr. Tyreek Hill?
Yeah, as far as productivity concerned, yes, they can kind of fill that void. Miko Hardman is going to be the one that's going to take the reins. Miko Hardman Jr.
Oh, you're up in Seattle. You don't know nothing about receivers, do you?
Got plenty up here. We got a 100-yard receiver and a 1,000-yard receiver. We got both.
You saying Juju Smith and Marquez Valdez-Scantling can fill in for production for Tyreek Hill?
Production for what Miko Hardman Jr. is not going to be able to do.
You think he's going to be the one to stretch the defense? That's what you think?
Indeed.
Mr. Drop the ball. Mr. Drops.
Well, he's got to get better. It's his time.
Okay, we'll see. So the Saints signed Andy Dalton. Is Andy Dalton somebody you guys? Andy Dalton's a quarterback you guys could have had up in Seattle. You could have had Andy Dalton start your season and not what you go Drew Lock. What's going on up there? Are you guys doing anything? You guys making any moves up there? Are the lights on in Renton?
It's a complete mystery with regards to the quarterback position. I don't know anything. I wish I had something to tell you, Cam. I have no clue what they're going to do.
What are they doing versus the offensive linemen? Are they looking at some offensive defensive tackles that they're trying to convert this season? Are they trying to convert?
Cam, they have the number 9 pick. They haven't really signed any free agents at this point. We don't know what Dwayne Brown is doing. Hey, man, my guess is as good as yours.
Well, you sound like you're out of touch. Peter's not calling you and consulting you with any of these decisions?
The line went really, really cold after the Russ trade. Apparently, they didn't want to hear my opinion. The flip side of it. So,
so there's a little animosity going on. It sounds like a little.
Not really. It's just time. It's just time to let both parties kind of cool down, simmer down a little bit, and we can talk a little bit more, professionally, a little bit later, but not right now.
So you excited for the Portland Mariners right now?
I'm sorry?
You getting revved up for the Portland Mariners?
The Portland Mariners? Yeah, no, the Mariners aren't moving anywhere.
I mean, well, I don't know if you heard or not, but there's been some talks, some rumblings going on that Portland got a place down there waiting for them.
Yeah, that sounds like a real baseball enthusiast talking. Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying, I don't know if you heard those. So hey, look, man, you don't have to have any animosity to me. If you don't want to do the show Cleveland with me, that's cool.
No, I mean it's kind of weird you brought the Portland Mariners. I mean, nobody's moving the Mariners. Why would you move it? Why would you move a team that's primed to be in playoff contention for the next 5 to 7 years?
Because the team has stunk for the last 20 years.
Okay, well we got 2 Daniels dinners on it, man, back to back both nights. Man.
So
they got a second mortgage, or you sell your car, whatever you want to do, man.
So the Chargers recently signed Gerald Everett. Gerald Everett was a part of your Seattle Seahawks last season.
Oh, hey man, we can't talk about the Chargers until you hey man, kind of flip the hat or denounce your allegiance. One of the two.
I want to ask you, what do you think about what is Gerald Everett?
Hey man, we can't really talk about that until you do one of the two, man.
What are you talking about? Denounce what?
Oh, you could talk about the culture for 16 months and Brandon Staley and what he's brought and with the direction that team is going.
They're all those things.
Dolphins go and get Tyreek Hill, and all of a sudden it's like, ooh, yeah, sound like the OJs, man.
Well, they got a new
girl, man.
They got a new head coach. They got a new head coach going on down there in South Florida, Mike McDaniels. McDaniels look like he's ready to make something happen down there.
Hey man, you're looking like Eddie King from the 5 Heartbeats, man, running up on the bus, man. Let's keep moving, man.
Gerald Everett, what did Gerald Everett bring to the Chargers?
Man, I mean, athletic tight end that left, the Rams and the Seahawks, playing quite well. But, I don't know if he gets them to the playoffs. That's your question.
Oh, you still wondering about them making it to the playoffs? What did Patrick Peterson staying in Minnesota say about either one of those guys, Minnesota or?
Says a lot about the both of them. Says there wasn't a lot of interest on the open market for Patrick Peterson. And it says that the Minnesota Vikings couldn't really find someone that could pick up the system and can replicate Patrick Peterson type ability.
Malcolm Jenkins retires after 13 years in the NFL. Is Malcolm Jenkins a Hall of Famer?
Yeah.
Super Bowl rings? Malcolm, huh? He's the leader of a Super Bowl team. Mm-hmm. No? Three-time Pro Bowl. He's a 2-time Super Bowl champ. 2016 Man of the Year. Malcolm Jenkins can't get in. Those credentials don't get 2-time Super Bowl champ, Man of the Year. Then get you into the Super Bowl.
I mean, it might get you into the Hall of Fame. Depends on how you look at it. I mean, you
Hall of
look at
Fame.
the the body of work.
3-time Pro Bowler.
3 times. Is that a lot?
I mean, he's a 2-time champ.
He's a 2-time champ, but you said 3-time Pro Bowler. Is that a lot for you?
No, not necessarily a lot, but I mean that's 7 TDs.
So I guess according to you and your criteria, he's a Hall of Famer.
No, I don't know. If I don't know if the Hall of Fame. He was All Pro, second year, 2009 and 2021. Made the Pro Bowl 4 years in that 12-year span.
You say 2009 and 2021? Is that what you said?
2009 to 2021.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
He made the Pro Bowl 4 times in those 3 years, in that 12-year span, 13-year span. I know 2-time Super Bowl. You want to put all this weight on Super Bowl rings. Now that man has 2 of them. He gets no credit for them.
I mean, I don't consider him a Hall of Famer, and I don't see you kind of leaning that way either. So, sure, no need to banter this back and forth. You're not even endorsing him on your own side. So,
do you agree with the new overtime rule?
Don't care, man. It is what it is, man. How many games is it really going to affect? Most games really end when the clock ends, right? Like
this last Super Bowl, I mean, this last playoff run, there was teams, a few playoff games, right? All right, man. Let's take a little break here, Cleveland. When we come back, man, we're gonna get into some NBA topics. We're gonna talk about Paul George came back yesterday. Did you see Paul George putting in work? Came right back in his game, doing historic things last night. Paul George did. In their big win over the Utah Jazz. So we're going to talk about Paul George. Last night, actually, 34 points, the most points ever by a player who has missed the team's 40 games in one season.
Come on, Cam. Is that a real stat? Where did you find that? That's gross, man. It's embarrassing. It's embarrassing that you pulled that kind of stat out and made it seem like it was something, man.
So what is the
most points for someone that's missed 40 games and then came back in his first game after sitting in the sunshine in 75-degree weather on Thursday. Oh,
this guy. I mean, what is 5 and 12 coming out of All-Star break? What do you like that? Do you like that stat better? Is that a legit stat that you want to talk about?
Whatever. I guess we're gonna get to this in a minute, aren't we?
I mean, talk to me. Tell me about it. What do you do when your team is 5 and 12?
Break and then we was going to get into it. You just threw some erroneous stat out there like it was supposed to mean something. I thought we was going to break. Excuse me. What are we doing here? Are we in it or are we going to break?
Let's take a quick break, man. Come back and I'm gonna beat you over the head with this.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. We'll chat then. Be back in a sec.
Yeah. Can you hear this? Can you hear any music? Cleveland, can you hear any music?
Yeah, but I can't really hear what it is. It just sounds like noise.
You can't hear it?
I can hear that it's noise, but I can't hear what it is.
You can't hear that? And we made a musical message to be a remedy to all the dance floors is empty. That was Jesse Jeff and a brand new funk. I gotta figure out how to play some music on here, man, so I can hit you guys some music in the break. You don't know nothing about that Jesse Jeff and the Fresh Prince.
Oh no, the brand new funk is their number one song, in my opinion.
Nightmare on Elm Street, Nightmare.
But no, summertime. Actually, I'm sorry, summertime's number one because he's been playing it for 35 years. Yeah, brand new funk's number two for sure.
All right, man. Let's get into this. Let's get into this NBA con. 12-5 coming out of the break, man. As a Laker fan, so go ahead. Talk to Laker. Talk to us, Mr. Laker. 12-5 coming out of the break. I don't know what to say. It's amusing to me, kind of hilarious to me. What I'm waiting for now is to hear about all the Bradley Beals coming to the Lakers next season.
Well, Cam, as we all know, and fans of the show, we all know how
Nikolai Jokic coming to LA next year. That's what I'm waiting to hear all that stuff.
Fans, you know how Cam is. He loves to see the downfall of the great ones. We've already started the show with his giddiness about the Seahawks not having a secure franchise quarterback, under center like they have for the last, 11 years. And now,
we heard
because
this for 11 years.
The Los Angeles Clippers have never won a championship and the Lakers have 17, and now he sees that, the Lakers making the playoffs is somewhat in jeopardy this season. He just can't, curb his enthusiasm, if you will. So, it's kind of funny to see that. And, hey, if I want to tell you the Lakers are going to make the playoffs, not 100% sure, man. Not right now.
What do you mean not 100% sure? They're out of the playoffs right now. They're out of play-in tournament.
They can still play their way back into the playoffs, but hey, man.
Right now, the Spurs
they mortgaged half of their future for Anthony Davis.
For LeBron,
he's been injury prone.
Which one?
They mortgaged another half of their future for Russell Westbrook. He's a shell of his former self. So I mean, Rob Pelinka, Frank Vogel, probably should talk to some realtors and see what they can get for their their location.
Oh, you taking the keys from them? That's what you plan on doing?
Yeah.
So. At what point does who's the leader of this organization? Who's the leader of this this whole scrum going on over there in El Segundo?
Lacking leadership right now. I mean, Jeannie is kind of, had to push Magic out for some, reasons that we won't discuss, but,
are you guys going to call Magic back? Or are you going to keep rolling with
Rob? I mean, not necessarily Madge, but I mean, it's probably not going to be Rob Pelinka.
What about Kurt Rambis? Just go ahead and put Kurt Rambis in the position.
They talked about that previously, but I think Kurt's a little long in the tooth. We're going to need someone a little younger.
I mean, you do everything he and his wife.
Ultimately, it's the King's decision. However he wants to go with it. Good, bad, or indifferent. We'll see.
Because he's good for the next 2 years, 2-3 years. Are you going to draft his son? So his son stays? So he and his son play with the LA squad?
Yeah.
Yeah, you are? That's what you're doing?
For sure.
Oh, so you're going to be terrible. So you got to plan on be terrible for the next 5 years.
No.
Just so he can play with his son. Because there's no way his son plays on a championship squad.
Oh, he can get spot 11 or 12, no problem.
Huh?
He can get spot 11 or 12, yeah, no problem.
No, what I'm saying, but if they're really a championship squad, they can use that seat for somebody actually good.
No, not really. A lot of teams you'll notice 11 or 12 is not that great of a player.
Oh, so now you're already telling Bronny he ain't great. That's what you're already telling him.
Oh no, Bronny's not great. Who told you that?
I mean, his dad. I mean, his dad is LeBron James.
That's true.
That doesn't make him coveted. That doesn't make him a
No.
coveted.
Yeah, no.
No.
Mm-mm.
Okay. But you guys just can't stay away.
It's kind of like Thanos on Tentacupo, right? There's probably
Yeah.
another cat that you could probably get that can ball just as good as Thanos. But hey, man, it's Giannis's brother, man. I mean, like, how much better is he gonna be? I mean, just in the fact that he brings Giannis, peace and tranquility is worth, millions, man. Yeah.
That's millions. Oh man. Are you concerned with Harden and the combination of James Harden and Joel Embiid? And
Man, a
their
little
ability,
bit. It looked
their ability to
extraordinary when it
close.
started out, and then it's kind of fluttered a little bit, man.
Yeah, their inability to close late in games, man, is concerning.
Yeah, a little bit.
Um,
And Doc is not the greatest X and O guy, great chemistry guy, great father figure. Yeah, man. So, a
mm.
little concerned. Not a lot though. It is still Joel Embiid and James Harden. So,
Do you think James Harden an underachiever? Will
yes,
he go down? Will he go down as an underachiever?
yes.
Interesting. And back-to-back losses to the Suns and the Bucks. I mean, they got smacked up by the Suns, double-digit loss, and then they lost to the Bucks, albeit um, a last-second loss. But James Harden's supposed to humiliate Drew Holiday. Uh, who else is guarding him over there in Milwaukee? Whatever guard they have trying to stay in front of him, James Harden's supposed to humiliate him. What's the deal? Can you explain what's going on?
Yeah, he's a head case, and it takes him a while to kind of get his bearings. And even when he does, he has a tendency to just kind of go his own direction. Yeah.
Any confidence in New Jersey Nets turning things around? I mean, I had them breezing to the finals. I had the Nets and the Nuggets in the finals. I revised it to the 76ers versus the Suns, but the Nets, man, even though now Kyrie's been allowed to play in home games, I mean, they got waxed at home game they played. And do you think they can turn things around and get back on the right track before the playoffs start?
Well, I mean, we'll see if Ben Simmons comes back. If not, then no.
You think Ben Simmons is the one keeping them from being all they can be?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, interesting. I don't think anybody is expecting anything from Ben Simmons in this season.
Well, then, man, it's just up to KD and Kyrie. Yeah, not quite enough.
What do you make of the Celtics claiming that number one spot in the Eastern Conference? Tatum over this calendar year, he's been the top five. He's in the top five in fourth quarter scoring. Um, what do you think has been the move for Ime Udoka and the Boston Celtics? You have no confidence in the Celtics. Derek White. I think Celtics might have one of the best records in the league since All-Star break.
I don't believe in them.
You don't believe in who? Who don't you believe in? Tell me how.
Marcus Smart, Jaylen Brown. I don't believe in
Smart.
them cats down the stretch.
Because you think Marcus Smart, when you hear Marcus Smart playing point guard, you think John Stockton. Marcus Smart is not John Stockton. I mean, it didn't take.
No, I think I'm Marcus Smart. I know who I'm talking about, Cam. Yeah, when it gets down, when it's time to get down, yeah, they're not going to make it past the second round.
Second round. Interesting.
Second round.
Okay. Eastern Conference is tough this year, though.
I know. That's why they're not making it past the second round.
Oh, okay. Paul George put up 34 points. Did you see that last night? You see him?
Got some glimpses, heard some stuff.
Okay. What's your thoughts on Paul George's return?
Good for
to
him, man. It's been 45 games or so, man. Good for him to get back into the fold,
What's that mean for the Clippers in the Western Conference? Anything? Or
man. No,
can you give the Clippers any credit? And can you give Paul George any love?
I will give the Clippers enough credit to get to the first round of the Western Conference playoffs, and maybe depending on who they play, losing 5 or 6.
It's going to be the Suns or Golden State.
Well,
The
yeah,
Suns,
that doesn't
they
sound
can't
good,
beat
then does it,
they
Cam?
can't beat they can't beat the Suns. They got a chance against Golden State.
Oh, that was a chance to beat them in the series,
They
the
cannot beat the
7-game series.
Suns. They cannot beat the Suns. They have a chance to beat the Suns or the
So they have a chance to beat the Golden State Warriors in a 7-game series.
yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
You disagree?
100%.
Golden State, Curry's going to be hobbled. Him and Draymond haven't been able to play together. Who do you have confidence on in Golden State of closing things out in the playoffs?
Man, they'll get together, man.
Move?
Clay's about to make his move, man. I do Kuminga. Yeah, he's a beast. He's about to get down.
Or you going with a rookie? You're going with a
He's
rookie.
about to get down. Iguodala, they have a lot of veteran leadership over there. Yeah, they'll run roughshod over the Clippers.
Iguodala's healthy as you. Iguodala's healthy as you.
Well, I'm pretty healthy, Cam. I just run around Green Lake like 2 times.
You didn't run around no damn green. Like, you better cut that out, man.
In the cold.
In the cold.
With the North Face jacket on.
With the North Face backwards with the sleets blowing.
I went backwards, Cam, but little head bobbing.
Yeah, Bubba. Green Lake all the way on the other side of the city from you. Stop and cut that shit out.
I just had to. I was felt inspired, had to get out there.
So you drove 45 minutes to Green Lake.
Yeah, I mean that's one of the places I run. So
yeah, gas is at 450, 450 per gallon. And you drove 45 minutes to Green Lake to get a little run in instead of going right there to Glen Coulon.
Just got them 2 laps in, man. It felt good though. It felt good.
Yeah, I bet it did. Okay. I bet it did. It felt as good, about as good as that cold beer that you got chilling in the fridge right now.
Oh, Gatorade.
Oh, now he's trying to. Hey, you don't have to fool us. You don't have to fool us.
No, I was just saying. We got out there, gotta get running. That's all.
Do you believe this in the Suns yet? You didn't believe in them last year. You wouldn't give him any credit. You wouldn't give Chris Paul no credit for being MVP caliber. You gave Devin Booker no credit for growing when he had the MVP caliber Chris Paul kind of schooling them, educating them, teaching them stuff last year. So they ascended to the NBA playoffs. You gave him no credit each step of the way through the playoffs. Do you give them any credit for being? Are they number one in the? Do they have the best record in the league right now?
Most certainly are. Most certainly are.
Do you give them any credit now? Are they better prepared to win the championship this season versus last season?
Oh, most definitely. I mean, just the maturity and experience of going through that, they're better prepared. But no, they still won't do it.
You still won't do it. Who do you have in the finals?
We're Golden State and Philly, as I recall.
Golden State and Philly. So come on, Golden State to throw your little prediction in the water. You know, once the Clippers make the play-in tournament, they're going to be 7th seed. They're going to play Golden State. It's going to be 2-7, right?
Yes, I was aware.
You know, the Clippers with Paul George can beat the
can they? Oh, for real? We'll see if Paul George is there.
Yeah, I think Paul George is going to be there.
Okay.
The Bucks keep rolling, man. Are we looking at NBA Finals rematch?
No.
You got the Sixers beating the Bucks in the playoffs.
Yes.
Woo. After what we saw last night?
Yeah, it'd be fine. Can't do that for 7 games. I mean, you know.
Okay, so now you didn't give Booker any credit last year.
I did. I gave him credit for making that step, getting there,
No,
being
no, no,
that
no.
guy. But
Don't try to
once he
clean it.
was
Don't try to
there,
clean it up now.
but once he
Don't
was
try to clean it up
there,
now. Don't try to
but
clean it up
once he
now.
was there, Cam, once he
The
was
whole
there.
time, you were talking Chris Paul, they were giving Chris Paul love. You was like Chris Paul, well, he hadn't done nothing.
Right.
He's been hurt. He's been hurt. Oh no, he's been a good coach and good mentor on the sideline. You didn't want to give Chris Paul no credit for that. You didn't want to give Booker no credit for his development, his growth and development.
I did. I gave him credit for that.
When? What credit did you give him? I'm sorry, I missed that. It must have been a different course. I was
No, I
different
as you
podcast.
recall, Cam, I
Yeah.
had those guys beating the Bucks. I didn't pick the Bucks in that finals.
Hmm. Okay, this year, who wins? I got to repeat in the finals. It's looking like just if we take things right now, the way things are looking right at this very moment, the Bucks is rolling. The Suns, they got the best record since All Star break. It looked like a collision course. Who would you take right now? The Suns or the Bucks?
Right now, I take the Suns.
Okay. All right. So you just reluctant to give him a little shine, huh? Okay. All right, fans. Anything else? Anything else I want to touch on about the MVP race? That's what I want to talk to you about. MVP race. Um, Again, I started off by saying you didn't want to give Devin Booker no credit for growing his growth last season. Um, you were trying to say Ja deserved to be in the MVP race, but it's the MVP race has come down to Giannis Antetokounmpo, the kid out of Milwaukee, Joel Embiid, and Nikola Jokic. Jokic, John Morant wouldn't win it because the team wins without him. They're like 12-2 without him when he's out, so he's not going to win the MVP. Jokic is not going to win MVP because the team is number 6 in the West. He's good, he's great, but the team is number 6 in the West. Not his fault, but kind of the West is tough. Joel Embiid is not going to win the MVP. Well, I don't know. Last night it was Giannis and going into the. I've had Giannis Antetokounmpo, Joel Embiid, and Nikola Jokic, the leaders in the MVP race for like the last 3 weeks. But last night the two teams get to meet up. Now, I'm a believer. When you're a believer, the rings matter. I'm a believer in head-to-head matchups. So when Giannis Antetokounmpo matches up with Joel Embiid, and then Giannis Antetokounmpo block his shot for the game winner, Giannis Antetokounmpo takes a step above that matchup, doesn't he?
Oh well, I mean, Cam, you're completely disregarding the play of Devin Booker and getting his team
Oh, stop.
to the
Here
number
we go.
one spot in the Western
Oh,
Conference.
now you want to give Devin Booker some credit? That's absolutely hysterical. Now all of a sudden you want to give Devin Booker some
Well, I mean,
credit.
Devin Booker's proven to be phenomenal as far as the regular season goes, and that's when the most valuable player is voted upon. So,
Oh my goodness gracious! When did this epiphany hit you? Just about 20 minutes
oh
ago?
my gosh, what are you talking about, Cam? I mean, just the way they've been rolling through the Western Conference was not an easy thing to do. I mean, Chris Paul's missed what 30, 40 games. I mean, he's just been able to climb above, rise above, fight off all of the competitors, the ones that want to get to the king of the hill where he is. Gotta give
This
some
guy,
props to
this,
Devin Booker for doing
this guy,
that.
this guy's incredible. This guy's incredible. Devin Booker ranks nowhere on this top. I think I had to talk him into putting Devin Booker in the top 50 list that we created. So, Cleveland, you're ridiculous. Cleveland, let's move on, and we're going to talk about this week in history. Kind of go back and give a history lesson to our fans. Thank you guys for tuning in. March 28th, 1799, New York State abolished slavery, Cleveland. 1999, excuse me, New York State abolished slavery. Nearly 80 years later, March 30th, the 15th Amendment gave blacks the right to vote. In 1870, you know the troubles we had. I mean, we weren't even allowed to read, go to voting booths, have ID and all this shit before we were allowed to vote. But it was actually back in 19. or 1870, the 15th Amendment gave rights to the right to vote. April 1, 1996, Charles Richard Drew, scientist, discovered blood plasma. Black scientist, Dr. Charles Drew. March 30th, 1980, Cleveland. George Gervin became the fifth player to win at least three consecutive scoring titles. You heard of that guy, George Gervin?
I have heard of the Iceman. Yes.
Once or twice? Hey, Cleveland, man, before we wrap things up, man, tell me, which are the best players in remaining free agency? Who are some of the players that you look that you would like what on the wish list that you're sending to Pete Carroll? Who name? Can you tell us some of those players?
Oh yeah, no, the wish list is over with. Yeah, there's nothing remaining but crumbs on the table.
There's nothing on the table. What?
I said there's nothing remaining free agency wise but crumbs on the table, and yeah, we're not interested.
Wow, that's interesting. So you're not interested in Baker Mayfield? He's not better than Drew Lock?
It's not a free agent. That would be a trade.
That would be a trade. Okay. Um, so speaking of that, what are the players that you'd like to see the Seahawks go after?
I mean,
Here,
the league
here,
is moving around so quickly. It's kind of hard to keep pace. Cam, got to wait till all the musical chairs slow down a little bit and see what's left. Not going to get into all that.
But you was in a press conference with Pete Carroll this afternoon. He told you don't say anything. Don't say.
No, I mean they don't know what they're going to do, man. They have a really high pick here, and they have a piece that everyone seems to want to pull away. It's fine. You want to yank it away, it's going to cost you. So,
what are your thoughts on the NCAA tournament? Who do you have winning the tournament? Who pulls it out?
I mean, Duke is obviously the sentimental favorite at this point. I think Kansas definitely gets to the final game. I think they beat Villanova, but ACC, Duke, North Carolina, you never can really predict, fully what's going to happen. But I'm just looking at it as a interested spectator. Can't really predict which way it's going to go, one way or the other.
Interested spectator, he says. Anything caught your eye in spring training, in the Major League Baseball spring training? Anything caught your eye? Mariners doing anything exciting?
Yeah, Julio Rodriguez has been tearing it up.
Well, maybe we'll see that kid, and he'll play. He'll play on instead of AAA TV. He'll play on a big Major League team somewhere. He'll probably be traded to the Dodgers or Yankees before too long if he's that good, right?
It will be his choice after 6 years to go to one of those teams if he so chooses. It's very much the route that Alex Rodriguez took previously.
Okay. Why isn't Trevor Bauer playing baseball yet this season?
Oh, because that case is still wide open and doesn't look good, but the legal system in and of itself is such that,
text messages showed that it was consensual sex that they had.
So then why has this been dismissed already?
Because some people want to hold. What did KD say the other day? Some people doing stuff for recognition.
Well, if so, then that would be the answer to your question, then Cam. Then that's the reason that he's still not playing, because someone wants to hold it up for recognition.
What about the Mariners? Is the Mariners doing anything big? They're making any moves up there?
Oh yeah, they're playing Julio Rodriguez every day. So
no, that's it. Huh? All the hopes rely on Julio Rodriguez.
Not wholly, but
wholly. That's on one guy you mentioned. In 2 weeks of talking Mariners baseball, I ain't heard nobody else's name.
You mentioned the Atlanta Braves. You mentioned Ronald Acuna Jr. You mentioned the San Diego Padres. You mentioned Fernando Tatis Jr. You mentioned the Toronto Blue Jays. You mentioned Vladimir Guerrero Jr.
Oh, listen to this guy.
You mentioned the Washington Nationals. You mentioned Soto. You know what I'm saying?
Is that how it goes?
That's how it goes.
What do you make of the UConn ladies, man? Making it to the NCAA Final Four 14 straight seasons.
the stuff that Gino Auriemma has done over there is, it baffles the mind. I mean, he's had two winning streaks over 88 games. He's had two of them since he's been there. You see the commercial with Sue Bird alludes to like undefeated, perfect. Yeah, they've done that a couple of times.
Right. That's cool. That's cool, right? That's cool. Right?
All your
More
other shades
career.
of blue.
We're not talking about one and done. We're not talking about the 2 years, leave early after your sophomore year. A 4-year senior in college goes perfect. That's crazy.
Yeah. So I mean, the level of greatness, consistent, sustained is quite amazing.
Okay, Cleveland, it's time for our CJ Ridley special. How'd your bets go last week?
CJ really special. Yeah, cut on. That's funny. You know, the Emerald Queen kind of did me wrong. I wanted to do a 6-point teaser. They only give me 5. So when I took
Wait, back up. Before you go too deep now. For the fans who pay attention and the fans, non-betting fans, when you say you do the teaser, explain to the fans what the teaser is.
certainly. So fans, Las Vegas comes out with a point spread for all of the games. However, the casino allows you to bet on the point spread differently than Vegas has initially set it. So, for example, when I say I wanted to do a 6-point tease, what that means is I could actually pick games and adjust the point spread up or down with regards to where Vegas initially set it and bet on the point spread at that point. It is not as high as a return as if you bet it straight up, which is just, you win your bet back. So it goes down. But the more teams that you bet on the 16 teaser, the higher the probability and the rate goes up.
Okay. So you did the teaser.
So I wanted to do it at 6. I got it at 5, and Arkansas lost by 9. I had them at 8.5.
Ooh.
So that was a little bit painful.
Ooh.
But I did come back with North Carolina. Just kind of jumping all over St. Peter's. So sorry about that, but that was bound to happen. And then I did also come back with Kansas, jumping all over the Hurricane. So sorry, but that was bound to happen.
Yeah, you were nervous about the Hurricanes game in that first half.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Like
After,
what
after
in the world is going on here? Like, wow.
after that second half,
But then,
I think
Kansas.
5 minutes into that second half, you were like, okay, you can put the towel away.
Yeah.
You can put the towel away.
Picked up that glass slipper and threw it out. Threw it out in the middle of the street.
All right. So what are we betting on this week? We got going this weekend? The NBA. You doing UFC? You doing boxing?
I mean, it's just to make it simple. I mean, let's keep it transparent because NBA is so fluid. It's kind of hard to bet, on a Wednesday what we're doing. But so we'll just take North Carolina plus the 4.5, and we'll take Kansas minus 4.5.
Who you got winning it all?
It's too early to tell. We don't know. We don't know who's in the final game just yet.
Well, I mean, you just said you got Carolina to win. You get Carolina, Kansas to win.
No, I said that with the points. I didn't say that.
Okay. Well, so we'll see what happens, man. So there goes. Anything else you want to tell the bettors of America, Mr. Cleveland?
It's hard to bet on a sentimental favorite, which is why I'm going North Carolina instead of Duke because they'll break your heart. But stick in there and see what happens.
Fans, as always, I want to thank you guys for tuning in to the Voice of the Fans podcast on this YouTube, however you're checking us out, HB Media TV, HMB Media TV, or Voice of the Fans on YouTube. However you're checking us out, we appreciate you. Whoever shared the link with you, we thank that person for sharing you the link of the hottest podcast in all the land. I want to thank Cleveland for his participation in the show today. Um, we'll have to educate them on what happens in the NBA and what happens in the NBA, and then how sports teams and players developed. Because he quite doesn't acknowledge how Devin Booker has developed into a primetime quarterback, or he doesn't acknowledge kind of what the quarterback means to the team and how Tyreek Hill going to Miami just kind of really changes the life uh, the life of South Beach.
Because who's throwing to him, Cam?
Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater will be starting quarterback of Miami by October. I told you that. So Teddy Bridgewater doesn't have a problem throwing a long ball. He doesn't have a problem throwing a long ball. Actually, he throws a nice sweet ball. I just hope Teddy's knees are better than mine, and he doesn't get shook up and leave one on the turf out there. That's what I hope. That's what we got to be concerned with. Because then,
wow, that really went a little bit more sideways than I was thinking. Before you were talking about Tyreek Hill and Waddle and what they're going to do, and now you're like hoping Teddy Bridgewater doesn't fall over. Wow.
No.
Totally skipped over Tua and just man.
No. Come on. I'm telling you, I'm predicting. Teddy will be starting quarterback by October. I'm telling you that right now.
Didn't look that great with Cortland Sutton and Judy and Noah Fan last year, but that's okay.
This is a whole different environment, buddy. He's back home. He's back home in South Beach.
Oh, he's back home. 10 years later?
He got family and friends.
It's been 10 years though, right?
But family and friends been waiting for
family and friends. Family and friends can take you a long way.
They've been waiting in the NFL. Listen to him. That was a good one. But Cleveland, before we go, answer this question for the fans. Would you rather have Drew Lock or Teddy Bridgewater? Right there, exactly what I thought. Exactly my thought. So,
is that a fair question? Wow.
I mean, it's a question. You want to laugh at you want to laugh at my man.
Would you rather have Teddy Bridgewater or Tua Tagovailoa?
Teddy Bridgewater. I'm glad we got Teddy Bridgewater. I'm glad we got Teddy Bridgewater.
You just jinxed yourself. No, man. You just brought the whole Dolphin Nation down, man. They're not even going to make the playoffs now, Cam. Just because you said that.
No, I doubt that. I'm not buying that. You can try to put some stink on there if you want, but that's not happening.
Oh, man.
Once again, fans.
You just brought the whole thing down. They ain't making the playoffs.
Once again, fans, we want to thank you guys for tuning in to Voice of the Fans podcast. Thank Cleveland. Thank Cleveland for his participation. Fans, we will check back with us next week. We're going to have a lot of content for us. And if you want to hit us at any time, in fact, I'm about to create the Voice of the Fans on Twitter right now. Voice of the Fans on Twitter. I'm about to create it right now. So you guys can share your comments and thoughts and ideas and education from Cleveland. Send your educational PDFs from Cleveland to voiceofthefans@twitter.com.
You should start some GoFundMe's for all of these wagers that you need to pay for when it comes down to what's really going on here. And fans, feel free to contribute to this situation as well. He's going to need it.
We'll see who needs the help, man. But Cleveland, once again, thank you for your participation, man. Enjoy the next week. Enjoy NCAA basketball. Good luck on your bets. Good. I like Duke though to win. I like Duke to beat North Carolina. I was way back when I was a Duke fan while everybody was a Georgetown Hoya fan in the mid '80s or North Carolina fan. I was appreciative of Duke starting the rivalry when the rivalry started. So
you were a Johnny Dawkins guy, sure.
Johnny Dawkins. I mean, yeah, I was a fan of the team basketball. That's what I mean.
Oh yeah, and you didn't really understand how that thing works, and you stuck with this whole entire time. I see where it started. And you stuck with that. You still don't understand how this whole thing works. Oh, that's kind of cute. You got the team thing from early on. You thought because of the Duke Blue Devils. Oh, that's cute.
I'll holler at you next week, big guy.
All right, right on, bro.
Later.